Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello crypto friends, hope you're doing well. We're going to be looking at the big three here as well as EOS, USD. We'll start on the weekly time frames to look at things from a swing trader's perspective, as there's not much going on today, and today's really a no trade zone for me, and I'll point out why that is. But for right now, this is the equilibrium on the weekly time frame. Hopefully at this point you've got this tattooed on your forehead, as this is the pattern for 2018, and we're going to be watching for a break sometime in June, it looks like. So the bulls would love if our higher low is 8,223. At this point on the daily time frame, the odds of it being our higher low are not very likely. The bulls are not giving us enough proof of strength from that level yet. So anything above 6,450 will be a higher low. We are anticipating this higher low is going to form. It's just a question of where. This bull MACD cross is ready and waiting to go if we can get a bull break of this pattern. But again, still need a little bit of time in my opinion. Daily chart is a bear flag. There's no doubt about that. This is a bear flag at this point. It's a setup for a bear flag. Do all bear flags follow through? No, absolutely not. We could, break this bull flag and see continuation of the bounce. But as of right now, where we stand on this daily chart, the odds of it being a bear flag are more likely than not. We have a daily inside bar forming. This looks very likely to form today. We'll be looking for a break of this inside bar tomorrow with the current range 8,420 and resistance 8,847. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, we were in a tight range. I was watching this morning the low and the high of this candlestick, and we were within this range for 12 hours, more than that, but 12 hours into this morning. And I said to myself, all right, as long as we're in this range, I don't like, this is my no trade zone. I'm not touching it here. There was definitely a bear break. If you are a bearish trader in the cryptocurrency space, the break of 8,610 was a go signal in terms of losing that higher low on the 4-hour time frame. So we had the low, the high of the breakout yesterday, higher low of support established, lower high, lower low. That shifted the momentum. So looking at that on the hourly time frame, high of the bull move, low of consolidation, lower high, unable to break resistance, and then a clear bear break, losing the higher low pattern. Weak bounce attempt at this point on the hourly time frame, and again, it's just a no trade zone. At this point, I would be somewhat interested if the hourly RSI got down to oversold and we were approaching this previous support of 8,289. I might look for an oversold bounce play, but at this point, I'm being picky. I'm waiting for the trade to come to me, and I'm saying if the hourly RSI is not going to get oversold, I'm not interested in the trade. That doesn't mean that there's not trades there. If you are a quick, day trade scalper, we just bounced from 8,420 up to 8,569. So even if you capture, $70 of that move, that may be worth it for you. For me personally, where I stand right now, I'm not going to want to sit at the computer and try and get those trades. I'm going to wait for more clear, significant moves, and that's not setting up for anything heading into tonight. At this point, heading into tonight, the only trade that I would be looking to take would be an hourly oversold bounce, because even if we do break bullish from this range, we still have a bunch of resistances from earlier today and yesterday that the bulls would still have to deal with in the 8,600 to 8,800 range. So that's where we stand. The daily time frame, again, it's weak. It's a clear bear break if we lose 8,223. If we lose that level, I would anticipate to lose 8,000 psychological support. If we see a bull break over 8,880, that would increase the odds that our weekly higher low has been established at that 8,223 level. So a game of patience for me, at least until tomorrow, and maybe even a bit longer. Have to see how trading goes. Again, consensus, my opinions. I gave my opinion in the last video. I gave my opinion in a video I did with Nugget's News. We did a trader talk, and in my opinion, there's too many people looking for bullish sentiment heading into consensus. It's already been priced in to a degree in that regard, and with one trading day left to go in consensus, hard to imagine that the bulls see bull moves. And all these analysts calling for 20%, 70% moves, it's just not a good way to trade. So Ethereum on the weekly, we've got our all-time high So all-time high, low of consolidation, lower high established, inside bar last week, inside bar so far this week. And ideally, we stay within this inside bar for the next 5 days, and then we can see a break next week for clarity. If we get a bear break, no big deal. Anything above 360 is a higher low. So again, I look at the range. I say 360 was the low, and the high was 830 roughly. So that is 400 and 470 range. So we look to $235 off the bottom to put us right in the middle, and that would put us at 595. So if we drop down to 595, that puts us dead smack dab in the middle of this range, and that's the ideal level for the bulls to hold to maintain the higher low, 595, and then we would need to see a break of 829 in order to change the weekly trend back in favor of the bulls, with a bull MACD cross ready and waiting to go here as well. Daily time frame has a longer way to go before we would drop down, and because of the size of the bounce, this is not a bear flag in my opinion. So let's look closely at what the difference is between Bitcoin and Ethereum on these bounces. So I'm looking mostly at the magnitude of the drop, and as far as I'm concerned, the drop was 9,900 all the way down to 8,200. So $1,700 drop, and the bounce from the low, we saw $600. So that's just roughly 30% bounce off of the lows. We look at Ethereum from the high of 830, let's call it for ease of numbers, down to 637. Let's call that $190 to be easy. The low, 637, the high of the bounce, 746. Let's call that 110. So $190 down, $110 bounce. That's well over 50% and a much more significant bounce. So the more significant the bounce, the less likely it is to be a bear flag. So Bitcoin's going to drop down and confirm its bear flag much sooner than Ethereum is, just based on this current setup. And we could see Bitcoin drop down to a lower low. And if Bitcoin were to bounce, let's say, off of 8,000 or maybe 7,900, there is the potential that Ethereum could drop down and still hold this low. So essentially, the bulls have more room to work with before a bear break would occur. Here's our resistance, the top of this move. And we are looking for the daily trend to shift back to the bulls. There's a couple setups that I see really clearly here. You could call this a bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern setting up, with this being the left shoulder. And if we drop down and break the neckline, that's a clear bear break. Or we could be looking for the potential of our low of consolidation, high of the bounce, higher low, and then a higher high is what the bulls would need to do to negate the potential bearish reversal head and shoulders and to be holding on really bullish overall if they could pull that off. So those are the two scenarios to be watching for ETH. But again, no trade zone, the 4-hour time frame. We have lost the higher low pattern as soon as we broke this support level down here at 717.81. That was a bear break. And still healthy consolidation. The next support's all the way down at 684. Don't anticipate to break that level anytime soon. But the same scenario, the bounce on Ethereum today was way stronger on this 15-minute oversold bounce than Bitcoin was. So that's definitely worth noting. I personally will still choose Ethereum over Bitcoin for my trading as a bull. And that's another reason why. Significant difference in terms of the strength of that bounce, which is again another reason why this daily chart for Ethereum is holding up more bullish than Bitcoin currently is. Litecoin on the weekly time frame, very similar to Bitcoin. We have our higher low, lower high is now set, and the bulls are looking for a higher low compared to 109. The sooner the better for the bulls to find that support level, but as far as the daily chart goes, potential for a bear flag. Here too, the bounce was more significant in terms of percentages than Bitcoin, roughly. I'm just visually looking at that. I don't want to do the math again here. 50. Let's see. Bounced about 40%. So we did bounce more than Bitcoin. So we've got, again, Bitcoin likely to break bearish first on a daily bear flag if we do follow through. And we'll be watching Litecoin to follow second if it does. And then Ethereum would be third, just based on where we stand right now. Obviously, that can change. Correlations are always changing, but that's the setup it looks like right now. Inside bar forming on the daily as well. We'll be watching this tomorrow. And again, the 4-hour time frame, nothing clear besides the clear bear break today. Bear break was at 144. We had a low of 144.18 and 144.30. Very clear short for the bears when that level broke. Spike in bear volume as everybody reacted to that. And where we stand right now, again, what does a bear flag look like on the daily time frame? And this, of course, is the 4-hour time frame, so a little bit more detail. But this is how I would draw this current channel using the real bodies of the candlesticks. And it's more of a broadening wedge at this point. So you can see it's expanding and not so much of a bear flag setup. Let's see what Bitcoin looks like. I'm just doing my own analysis here while I'm making this video, as I have not looked at things on this time frame in this way just yet. And this also is dependent on whether you're using real bodies of the candlesticks or the closes as to how it's going to look. So they are broadening wedges. So worth keeping an eye on those, not your standard bear flag with the parallel channel, and watching for a break of these broadening wedges on the 4-hour time frame sometime in the next couple of days to give some more clarity. Let's go to EOS because the setup's different. Always like different. If I were to do BCH right now, I'd be seeing the same things that I'm saying on Bitcoin with some minor differences. But here on EOS, healthy weekly consolidation following the all-time high. And we're going to look for a higher low to form, absolutely. And anything above 387 is a higher low. So obviously bulls are not concerned in the slightest about forming a weekly higher low. The question is just when. And we look at the daily chart and there's no real signs of a trend change just yet. If the bulls can hold 1205, form a higher low right here, and then break the high of this bounce attempt of 1514, then we will shift the daily momentum back to the bulls, and we'll look for a weekly bullish reversal candlestick. So that's something to be keeping an eye on. Otherwise, we're watching for oversold conditions. 4-hour RSI is close to oversold. If we drop down to 1205 and break it, we will get oversold on the 4-hour RSI, and the hourly RSI is trying to see an oversold bounce right now, but this is not a convincing bounce at this point. So the bears are still in full control of EOS, and it's just going to boil down, can the bulls hold 1205? If they cannot, we have psychological support levels down until really we'd be looking at 12 and 11 as the next two levels. And if the bulls do get the bull break over 1513, next level is up at 1898 as a clear resistance. So tightening range that favors the bears at this point, bear volume compared to bull volume. And let's look at it from a bear's perspective. How would you have entered this trade as a bear to make some nice profit? We have the high of the breakout, the low of the initial consolidation, a lower high, higher low just barely, another lower high, and then a clear equilibrium bear break. The clear break was at 1623. If you wanted to be more cautious, it was at 1591. But the follow through that we got, another 20% to the downside. So a very clear signal. Again, tightening patterns, we usually cover them in regards to bull breaks, but you can play tightening patterns, bear breaks just as easily, and they give the clarity and the follow through and the volume spike the exact same way as the bull moves do, just obviously in the opposite direction. So that's where we stand on all the names as we head into tomorrow. Again, wait for the trades to come to you. And right now, none of these trades are coming to me on Bitcoin. So I am patiently waiting because, again, otherwise I'd be forcing trades, getting myself into a scenario that is less risk to reward favorable than I want it to be, and likely giving back money. If I trade the same intensity as I do in favorable positions as I do as unfavorable positions, I'm not going to get anywhere. So essentially, I want to move 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, or 1 step back. And an analogy that just popped into my head would be, let's imagine I'm running a marathon, and marathon is trading in my life for the next few decades, and I want to conserve energy and continue moving forward. So if I'm entering a terrain that's, difficult, like let's say I'm running on the pavement and running on the sand, I want to be increasing my speed on the pavement because it's nice and easy. I can move faster. That's a bullish trading environment, blue sky breakout, where I'm really hitting it hard and going for it. And then if I start running on the sand, it's a lot harder. I'm going to conserve my energy. I'm going to slow down a little bit and not try and run the same on the sand as I would in the pavement, or I'm going to burn myself out. So that's a little analogy for you. I hope you all continue to do good things. I hope all you mothers had a good, happy Mother's Day out there. And in terms of things to do good things with ourselves, again, I've talked about this a bunch in the courses and part of the psychological and physical well-being of traders, but can't forget that physical aspect. I'm constantly feeling things in my body that tell me I'm sitting at the computer too much, which I know I am. So I'm constantly doing things with the stand-up desk, and throughout the day, can't stress enough just hopping up from your chair and doing a set of push-ups throughout the day. So racking up, 100 push-ups, 200, whatever it is for you, pull-ups. I got that pull-up bar you just stick in the door. So it's very easy for me throughout the day to be, with it on the computer, but constantly moving around and standing up and doing other things to keep the blood flowing, to keep from my muscles from tensing up. And that's definitely something that you want to be doing, no matter, use it as a motivator to not only are you learning technical analysis and how to trade, but at the same time, you're getting more in shape. And every day you do 1 more push-up. There's all kinds of ways when you change your life and change your routine to better yourself and learn a new skill, It doesn't have to be just one thing. You can easily make it, multiple things. So let's say a goal for yourself is you want to read more. Well, reading more, let's say you like to read before bed to get tired. Maybe that means you go to bed a little bit early. So not only are you, enriching yourself with wanting to read more and learn on whatever you're reading or enjoy your book, whatever you choose to read, but you're affecting your sleep schedule as well and increasing the amount of sleep you get daily because you go to bed a little bit early because you set that time for yourself. So there's all kinds of ways to get two birds stoned at once, and definitely suggest looking to do that in as many ways as possible. And that goes back to what I was talking about walking around the grocery. Rather than getting the cart with wheels, if you want to get the basket, put some weight into it and get an arm workout while you're shopping. I always enjoy doing two things at the same time and being as efficient as possible. So I appreciate you all watching. We'll check back in tomorrow and see if we get some more clarity on this chart. Last day of consensus is tomorrow. No, I'm seeing on Twitter people posting, where's this consensus momentum? Where's this hype? Where's the breakout? And it's just, we can't anticipate just because a known event, that would be too easy. Could you imagine if any time, a conference or an event came up, the price just ran, everybody would just buy beforehand and then, sell the news pop, which we see happen often. But in this scenario, we didn't even really see much of a run up into consensus. So there's not really a whole lot to even sell in terms of selling the pop. So in my opinion, the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, this equilibrium that's tattooed on your forehead, is so much more important than any event fundamentally, because if the market is going to react positive to a fundamental event and bullish, we're going to see a bull break of this equilibrium pattern. It's as simple as that. So I appreciate you watching. Continue to do good things. Have a great night.